Hello and welcome to Queer Abbey, the weekly chat show that's performed, recorded, and produced by yours truly. Ooh! Welcome to the 51st episode of Queer Abbey. I'm very excited to have you here. I can't believe that I have spent 51 weeks doing this freaking podcast. I think that's just awesome. I've discovered so much music. I've talked about so many random tidbits of advice. And I've told y'all a lot about my life in this year. So that's been fun. And I've also learned a lot about being consistent. I've learned a lot about recording my own voice and editing video and sound together. So yeah, that's been awesome. I look forward to what the future will bring me with this podcast because I certainly want to continue to focus on featuring people's music and featuring my own music and using it as a platform that I can sort of shine a light on all of the really cool stuff that's happening around me because I'm constantly amazed by the talent that I encounter in my day-to-day life, both at school and just now in my professional life. Speaking of which, today, I went to a meetup for women and queers in sound engineering, which it was exactly as cool as it sounds. It was at this very neat little studio that has a bunch of super cool gear and a bunch of really cool engineers that like freelance and work in there. And they all... Well, it was a variety of people. Some of the people were engineers that like work at that studio sometimes. Some of the people were newer to audio engineering. Some of the people just worked in other areas, like other studios or doing live sound. And my friend Katie, who, you know, at this point, it's just like a sound effect or something. Like we know about Katie Waterland, my friend. And they invited me to go to this event, and I knew that I wanted to go and get really fierce and make some cool connections with people who know more than me about production and about recording people's music and engineering it. And it was really, really fun. Not only did I learn a lot, but like I said, I met a ton of people and made these cool connections. So that was just like really invigorating for me. I was just came out of that with a big smile on my face. And I had given out a bunch of business cards and I told people about this silly little podcast. And I was just so happy to connect with people with similar interests to me and with people that were like women and queers and other trans people and not just men, because there's a lot of men that do audio engineering, and it just in the music industry in general, it is sort of male dominated. So it was very good experience today. I also have a few things coming up that I have updated you on a few different times, but like I have an installation that's going to be opening on the 4th of June at PSU in the Boiler Room Theater. We're making an installation that kind of represents a bunch of the miseries in the world, and then this space that represents reprieve from all of those things. So it's going to be sort of like technology based as well, where there's going to be like little speaker displays that are playing these sounds at you, and then a projector that shows you these images that are sort of distorted along with the sounds to represent, for example, like LGBTQ discrimination or immigration restrictions that are being passed in the US, or the environmental crisis that we are sort of perpetuating and making worse. Or the political apathy of like our generation. We've taken a bunch of different themes that are just loosely related and that they are troubling the world right now. And then we're going to exemplify them using data sonification, which is a process where you take data sets and then you use them as like a control, or basically information that you feed into a program in something called Max MSP, and you can take those data sets as like ordered pairs. Which this is getting all technical now. It's called a CSV file, comma separated values. And that's when it's basically just like two rows or it can be multiple rows, but just like comma separated values that you can feed into many different types of programs or many different types of algorithms. It's used in statistics oftentimes, but you can use it in the sound world where you, like I said, use it as a control or information for a filter or an oscillator or any variety of like sound thing. It's pretty cerebral because you can use it for so many different things, but we've chosen to control different granulators and filters using these CSV files and statistics that are related to these different topics. It sounds all complicated, but that's actually the point, is that it is complicated, but when you are in the experience of the sound art installation, it makes sense because of all of the sound design. It's going to draw it into like an understandable environmental sort of piece of art, which is the really cool thing about sound, because we're able to draw so much meaning from things that we hear. So you should be able to derive sort of what we're getting at. And then there's this other space that's going to be like, well, I'm not going to give away the rest of it. I'm going to leave the rest of it to be a surprise, but there's going to be a bunch of cool sound design. That's all. So you should come check that out. It will be open on June 4th. And it's just occurring to me that I gave a lot of that away, but you really have to come see it in order for it to make sense anyway. So come check that out if you're in the Portland area. I also have a performance coming up that's pretty silly on this coming Thursday, which is, oh gosh, I don't even know. Thursday the something, May 20 something. And I'm going to be playing the saxophone with the chump band or the like conductors ensemble. So it's just going to be pretty silly, but we're playing a few little tunes out of the like beginner band book. And I've been having a really lovely time learning how to play the alto saxophone. So I'm really looking forward to that, performing for my peers, just these silly songs. And yeah, playing the saxophone is so fun. And I'm really reluctant to give this alto sax back to the school that I rented. I would love if I could just keep it, because saxophones cost like $6,000, or if you want to get one that's used, that's decent, it costs like $1,000, or you know, it's difficult to get anything for like a real affordable price. So I don't foresee myself purchasing a saxophone like very soon, but boy, I really want one, because boy, who says boy? Ugh, gosh, my ex used to say, oh boy, and I was like, hello, are you Mickey Mouse? Come on. Oh boy. Anyway, point being, I got to catch up with my lovely friend today. I talked on the phone for probably an hour with my, I was going to say childhood, but my really old friend, Feather. And it was so lovely to talk with her because we bonded over the fact that we're both very responsible divas and that we've ended up in these sort of like stable positions in life. Even though we have these unique and interesting family situations, and we both grew up in Idaho, which just, I mean, come on, in and of itself, it's like difficult. What a debilitating upbringing to be from Idaho. Just kidding. But yeah, Feather and I, we come from similar stock, and we went to the same high school for a while, and I just love Feather. I mean, we get along so well. The first time that we met was literally in like theater class, and it was like immediate connection because I was sitting there and Feather was like, hey. And I was like, hey. And we just, yeah, never really stopped talking after that. And it's really lovely when you catch up with people who you have that deep connection with, and then you go, this is so cliche to say that, but like a few weeks or a few months, and then you talk again, and it's, you just pick it right back up. There's nothing like it. And I was so happy to see that and hear that Feather is in such a good place in their life. So that's super fierce. I was asking Feather about some financial advice because they work at a bank and they're really intelligent when it comes to those kinds of life decisions and the ins and outs of credit and qualifying for loans and all of the things that are entailed with working at a bank. And they were telling me about how I can go about getting a car loan because I'm thinking about purchasing a car, which is so exciting because I've been using public transit and just zipping around that way for the last year and a half or so. And it's just so necessary to have a vehicle if you're going to move music equipment or if you're going to really be doing anything. I mean, it's difficult to navigate life without a car in the modern world right now, which is so unfortunate because we kind of have the technology available to make it so that everybody could just zip around on trains that go really fast, but we don't really invest in that kind of infrastructure because we're worried about other things. So whatever. Yeah, well, that's a pretty good synopsis of how I'm doing right now. Checks notes. Purchasing a car, almost graduating, lovely meeting today. My gorgeous friend Feather and I talked on the phone. I played a bunch of Skyrim today because I took the day off for this meeting because oftentimes I'm prohibited from doing cool stuff like that because I have to go to work at these, standard times, like in the mornings, but like on Saturdays and Sundays also because I just don't have any real days off because that's just the student fucking work life. But that's going to change in 4 weeks. So pray for Wilson. We're almost there. With my complaint, let's move on to the advice segment of Queer Abbey. Welcome back to the advice segment of Queer Abbey. I am always so excited to hear the questions, the quandaries, the qualms of the people. So don't be afraid to hit me up. There's that inbox that's in the description of the episode that you can just click on and then fill out the Google form and it will send to me anonymously and I'll read it and have a lovely time. Okay? Thank you. The first submission this week reads, Queer Abbey, how do I break the ice? I'm actually curious about the ways that you break the ice the first time meeting someone. I look forward to your thoughts. Well, I think that this sort of depends on the context for sure. There's not one magical phrase that you can say that's going to like warm you up to everybody in every situation. But I think that there is a few things that you can consider in most situations, which is like, how are you coming across to people with your body language and with your your openness to them? Because all you can really control in any situation is yourself. You can't control the actions of other people just by saying the right thing. I think that's a common misconception when it comes to just communication in general, because people can sense your intention as long as you're not too guarded, if that makes sense. Like if you really kind of focus on being connected with people by using eye contact, by looking them in the eye when they're talking and like being engaged with what they're saying. And like I said, this is context dependent because maybe you're like at a work lunch or something and somebody's like talking and you're trying to like really be a part of the conversation and connect with them and get to know them, and like you know their name but you don't know much else about them, so you're gonna like really lock in and like make eye contact with them and think, okay, cool, I'm learning about this person, I'm engaged in this conversation, and then that's how you can garner the information to know what to say or how to approach or whatever, if that makes sense. So just use your senses, be open, make eye contact, and then perceive, what the best way to approach somebody is. I think that's kind of the standard procedure. Um, there are some situations that aren't necessarily talking specific. What am I trying to say? There, it's not like facilitated where you're like already talking to them. So in that instance, like let's say you're sitting next to somebody on the bus, I think that everybody really loves to be complimented or to be approached just with warmth or very kind of surface level kindness, because nobody wants to be like pulled into anything like too crazy if they don't know you. So you don't need to be overbearing or anything, but like just having like a casual and like kind of maybe even funny like kindness with people really works nicely. Like I find that being just like, oh hey, like you look lovely today, yeah, super fierce, love that, thank you so much, like that kind of level of casual with people that you don't really know, you can certainly be friendly and warm. And I think people forget that. You don't need to like, hone in and stuff. Like that's not going to help you to break the ice with anybody. So you certainly need to do your part by looking up and watching and like knowing, like if you wanted to like compliment somebody, like what would you compliment them on? Or maybe you ask them a question. If you are wanting to talk to them because they have a similar interest to you, then maybe you say like, hey, did you know this? Like there's so many ways that you can really just spark a conversation with somebody. And I just wish people were less afraid of that, to be honest. I certainly get anxious sometimes, but I think that I was raised with this very social sort of pragmatism, I guess. My mom was like a very communicative person, and she was always, I guess, like maybe even a little bit like demanding in public sometimes, but like she always like was really like intensely looking people in the eye and like talking like really directly with just strangers, which was so interesting to me as a child because I watched that and watched how people responded to her directness. And I think I've definitely taken parts of that as an adult and reflected that in my own personality. Well, that was sort of a long-winded answer, but let's move on to the next question, which reads, Queer Abbey, side hustle. What's your opinion on the best side hustle? Well, dear listener, the best side hustle is whatever is best for you. So, that was so stupid. The best side hustle is dependent on your skill set and what your situation is, I think. Something that's been really helpful for me in my life has been doing sex work. I mean, that's the sort of general term for it, I guess. But I have run an OnlyFans, and I have done some professional studio shoots and things like that in the last 4 years of being in school, and it has allowed me to be financially stable. It's not my sole income by any means, and I've never expected it to be that. I've just sort of done it very casually and allowed myself to have this supplementary income that has allowed me to like pay a little bit on my student loans and just like absolutely make sure that I have rent money. And it's just been a huge help for me. So that's something that I know many people endeavor to do, is to do something spicy on the internet maybe, and having a fan site, but that's definitely not for everybody. So that's probably what, that was a really loud motorcycle, sorry about that. That's why I preface though that it's not for everybody. Not everything is not for everybody. And at the same time, I'm really not the type of person that would go and work on cars, for example, for like a tertiary form of income. Oh, a ghost just turned off one of my lights. That was really rude. All right. So, I'm not the type of person that would just like go up and be a mechanic and work on cars. And then there are lots of other people that would never put their naked body on the internet. And you know what? To each their own, right? So if you're the type of person that's really good at fixing saxophones, maybe you played the saxophone until the ninth grade, and then you got really passionate about it again as an adult, and then you go learn how to fix saxophones, and then you get on Facebook Marketplace and you learn how to connect with people that way, or you go to a school and you fix all their saxophones or something. You know what I mean? Like, there are so many different ways that people make money in this world, and you should never limit yourself on the premise that you just need to do like the right thing or one specific thing, because that's really just not true. I mean, today I was at a meeting with a bunch of people who, some of them make a very decent income mixing music for people and recording things and engineering things and even playing music. And you know what? A lot of people don't even think that's possible for themselves, and it actually is, which is very inspiring to think about. So why ever, for whatever reason that you're asking this question, just think about that, like, what skill set do I have and what can I offer to people? Because when I was in high school and I needed extra money, this is my like boomer moment where I'm like, when I was in high school and I was poor, I did people's makeup. I was always pretty into makeup, right? And so when I was like 16 or 17, I think that's when I started wearing makeup. And then, yeah, about 17 years old, I just had watched so many tutorials. Even before I started like wearing makeup, I was always fascinated by it and like watching people do it. And so I was ready to like start putting it on other people and like getting all into it. And I did probably like, 5 or 6 times maybe. Like, I got paid to do different makeup looks. I think about 3 or 4 of those were senior pictures, where people get their picture taken for their senior of high school. And then oftentimes people will pay to get their makeup done. I mean, in those like more conservative states, it's like, Greggy Lynn is going to go get her makeup done because she's going to go get her picture. She's graduating. Like, I feel like that's just like a thing that happens. People get dolled up. They do glamour in those states. So, and then I had this friend that was a photographer even when I was in high school. Her name was Fiona. And we're still friends. Miss Fiona Montaigne. She's very talented. And she let me do makeup for a couple cool little shoots. And one of them was like actually really interesting for me as a high schooler, because I got to go to the studio and they were taking pictures of these like prom dresses. And I got to do makeup on a couple of the models. And that was just like a super formative experience for me. And it made me feel like I was very professional. Even though I was like, oh my God, I don't know what I'm doing. And I was even pretty nervous doing people's makeup for their senior pictures. But like I said, I was passionate about it, and I had the will, and so there was a way. I purchased some makeup with the money I had from working at like Taco Bell or whatever, and then I made that my side hustle. And I think I probably made a couple $100 in high school doing that, which was very good for me. I also actually incorporated that into the studio porn, because one day I had mentioned that I would be very open to doing other models' makeup if they requested to have their makeup done. And then lo and behold, just like maybe 2 months later, I got a text message from the producer that was like, oh, hey, this such and such would love to have their makeup done if you would be available on this day or this day. And so then that got lined up, and that was just like an easy like $100 to do somebody's little mug really quick, which is just, for me, we love that. I mean, I could totally always use $100 or $200 or something there. And so learning how to do something skill-based that you can go do like a quick little contract here and a quick little contract over there, it's lovely. So get into it. Develop a skill. Get good at something. All right. Well, that concludes the advice segment of Queer Abbey. I had already given you a little reminder about the anonymous advice inbox that's in the description of the episode. But don't forget, you can also send us an email at queerabbey@gmail.com. That's QUEERABBEY@gmail.com. Or you can send us a text message at 503-567-2053. So, yeah, let's move on. Welcome to the final and the best segment of Queer Abbey, which is the musical spotlight. This week, we are going to be featuring the lovely music of my lovely friend, DJ Jorts. They have released this song, just about a month ago, called It's All Gonna Be Fine. And it's another really fantastic, what was I gonna say, R&B, hip-hop, poppy, interesting, electric, kind of housey, I guess. Maybe not housey, but it has that electronic kind of feeling to it. And they produce, record, and perform this music themselves, to my knowledge. And yeah, this person is just fantastic at creating their own fully finished product, and they're just so knowledgeable. DJ Jorts is somebody who I go to school with, and they are a saxophone player, a producer, a singer, and totally worth listen. So you should go and follow the link to their music that's also in the description. Sorry, I keep sending you over there, down to the description. But yeah, DJ Jorts, you can find all their music on Bandcamp or SoundCloud or Apple Music or Spotify. And yeah, so get into it. This song features some really interesting textures, some flute that's been affected. You've got these really beautiful little high fairy vocals, and the stunning lyricism of DJ Jorts, which is a little bit campy, a little bit lighthearted and whimsical. And I just really enjoy it. It's such super fun music, and it's kind of danceable and just, it rocks, it bops. So let's get into It's All Gonna Be Fine by DJ Jorts.
DJ Jorts, what are you doing with those scissors?
Take another hit out my window. I can see the smoke as the wind blows. I just got some bells, got some wins too. No, you don't even know what I've been through. The wind blow out my window. Got some L's, but I also got some wins though. We can make it, this just the intro. I can take it out of limbo. I can see a star up in the sky for you and me. Look into your eyes, cry musically. Traded out the skies for unity. So maybe it'll be fine. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Fine. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Smoking, I'm alone in my room. No one really cares what you do. No one cares as I make a noise. But I know you're there, screaming to the void on the other side. Wanted another life, how you move onto you. And I know it's right, your attitude in the mood. Want you day and night. I'd be a fool if I ever tried to say goodbye. And no one can stop us, no one can stop us. Yeah, trust, yeah, love, yeah, love. So finally, I can see a star up in the sky for you. Look into your eyes, cry musically. We traded our disguise for unity. So maybe it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Yeah, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Fine. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. It'll be fine.
Alrighty, y'all. I hope you enjoyed It's All Gonna Be Fine as much as I did. You can go ahead and follow the link in the description and go check out DJ Jorts' music. And yeah, I had a really fantastic week. I reconnected with lovely friends. I was a very professional. I went to professional little meetings. I played the saxophone. I went to school. I played video games. I did all sorts of stuff. So I hope you have a similarly productive and fruitful and enlightening week. And I'll see you next week on the year episode, the like, what is that called? Year anniversary of Queer Abbey. Oh my goodness, that's so exciting. Although I don't know how that works because it's the 52nd episode I counted, but like it's not June 1st yet, and I started like June 1st of last year. So I don't know. You tell me, should I like celebrate that now after like when it's been 52 weeks, or did I miscount that? Cuz I might just be really fucking stupid. Oh well, it doesn't matter. I've been doing it for almost a year. So I'll see you next week.